In this episode of Marty Car Mods, I'm going part hunting in Japan.
And I'm just going to stay here and work on my Mini. I don't want to go to Japan anyway. Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods, where the magical and mighty MIRA is about to continue, but this time intercontinentally.
That's right, so to truly understand this little JDM Japan-built beast, I'm going to go to Japan and I'm going to try and find the place where they're made.
You're Daihatsu hunting.
I am Daihatsu hunting, and while I'm there, I'm going to try and get some parts, because as these things are no longer even sold in Australia, it's getting really, really hard to find bits.
So there it is. Come with Martin on a magical journey to Japan, where there's small cars in abundance, the food is tasty, the cars go thop, 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 and I'll just be here. I am legit working on my Mini.
That's good.
I am.
That's good.
That was weird, because you hugged me, then I hugged you, and it was out of time. Can we just do it at the same time?
Yeah.
Like that. Anyway, have a good trip, Martin. Make sure you got travel. Do you have travel insurance?
No.
Really?
Don't need it.
Really?
I need it.
Yeah, get it. Anyway, here it is, Martin's magical MIRA adventure.
Japan is one of my absolute favourite places to visit. The transport system is one of the best in the world, the landscape is diverse, the city's bustling, and the people warm and friendly. The fact it also has some of the coolest cars on the planet is a bonus as well.
In Japan.
As the tide of world trading ebbs and flows, Daihatsu is now gone from Australia. So, if I want to learn more about how these cars came to be, and find some parts to help finish my build, I'm going to have to go straight to the source. Daihatsu made their first engine around the turn of the century, and their first car appeared in 1930. They're now part of the landscape of this country, which loves their small size and affordability. I'm starting my journey in Tokyo and going to use their awesome public transport system to make my way around.
I think I might be getting close, because that is a Daihatsu Hi-Jet. Where there's Daihatsus, you know what else there is? Oh, it looks like I just pooped. I reckon he knows where the Daihatsus are, for sure. I was told there'd be turbos. Totally gonna fuel up on the vegetable and fruit machine. Think of everything. I'm gonna try and get a bit of height, a bit of perspective, climb the highest tree. Found a tree, it's huge.
As it turns out, Daihatsus are just too small to see from this high up, so I'm going to have to get back on the ground and keep looking.
I have no idea what he's doing. Finding these Daihatsus is proving tricky, but I feel like I am getting closer.
Closer because they are everywhere, in all sorts of models, shapes and sizes, and all of them sporting the mad yellow K plates. The bullet train will get me from Tokyo to Osaka in less than 2.5 hours.
I've made my way to Osaka on a Shinkansen because I heard that there's a Daihatsu factory not far from here.
Osaka is one of the biggest cities in Japan after Tokyo, and an industrial hub. It's close to ports, which means it's perfect for shipping in raw materials, manufacturing cars, and then exporting them out again.
Still struggling to understand why you would need a Bentley or a Ferrari dealership when you can buy Daihatsus, brand new. It's MIRA sized, but it's electric. The trail has gone somewhat dry. All I've managed to find is bridal shops. But I've also been told that just outside Osaka, or in one of the sort of prefectures just outside of the city, there is something for Daihatsu lovers that might be right up my alley.
Next, I have to take a local train to Akita. You can travel for hours in Japan and still be in medium or high density areas, which look a little different from the suburbs we're used to in Australia. Buildings are built to resist earthquakes, and the rapid economic growth of the country in the past century means people flooding to the cities needed housing, and lots of it.
Been walking for about 20 minutes now. Whoa! Yes! I found it. MIRA. But while we're at it, Hello friends. MX-5 and S2000 living in harmony with an S15 and an Integra. That's a good combination.
The staples that you see at car meets everywhere are still popular in Japan, even though they may be becoming a little more niche, supplied by a dealer like this one that is a dress-up tuning pro shop. As mad as these cars are, there's something else a little more mad just up the road that I have my eye on.
So lining the streets are these signs, like above my head, with the different model names of various Daihatsus. I think I might be in the right place.
And I have found it.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
I'd been wondering why it was so hard to see the Daihatsu factory, then realised that I was already in it. It is enormous, taking up almost 350,000 square metres of land. And within the factory is Hue Mobility World, which Daihatsu uses as a museum and education centre for school-age kids, and people as excited as kids. It is what's known as a corporate museum. This isn't aimed at overseas tourists, so it can be hard to find and to get around. Its focus is the machines and cars that the company has developed over the years, with both interactive displays and perfectly kept examples of historically significant models.
So before Daihatsu made cars, they made engines, and engines for farm life, so things to run tractors and stationary pumps and stuff like that, so that they could pump water around. And that like transforms the way a farm runs, because instead of walking stuff around with buckets, suddenly you've got this giant thing that you pour a bit of diesel in, and it does everything for you.
It's one of the most popular engine that we use in Daihatsu right now, and we use this engine for Tanto and Koppen, and it's 3-cylinder. These are all the parts that we break up when we break up this KF engine. We use about 500 pieces for these engines.
Like so many young Japanese people, Yoshida speaks excellent English and agreed to show me some of the exhibits, including their car timeline, which was a great way to explain just how many of these nuggets we've modified over the years.
So we have this one. Good. One. This one. My favorite. This one. And Turbo Yoda has this one. L200. But one day it's going to go from that to looking like this.
Oh, okay.
That's the plan.
Cars like this Koppen, which is a turbo hardtop convertible, sold reasonably well in Australia and remain popular in Japan. But there is other Asian markets where the popularity has exploded.
The benefit it's had for people like us is that there's this massive aftermarket of parts, like coilovers and suspensions and shocks, because all these guys in Malaysia and Indonesia are importing Daihatsu parts to put in their produce because it all fits. Here we go.
Using a system that is completely in Japanese, I attempted to recreate my own MIRA as accurately as possible.
This one?
Yes.
Me? Da? That's it?
Yes.
I have designed my own K car. Let's design a K car. That mirror will come up on the screen?
Yes. Here it comes. Oh, okay.
Hey! It's so fast. What makes a car move? Boost, turbos, and the 3-cylinder engines. So this is an awesome example of what we've been dealing with our restoration of the MIRA. So we've got some flat sheet metal like what we've been using to repair sections, just flat steel plate, and you can see how flexible it is. Once you start bending a steel plate, you can see that it doesn't flex anymore. So when we started to bend repair sections in and stuff like that and putting little bends in it, it makes it really strong. And then you've got a steel box. Once you punch that steel plate into a box section, suddenly it's really, really, really strong.
Since my MIRA was built here almost 25 years ago, technology has come a long way. The cars are more powerful, built better, and importantly, a lot safer. The process of stamping sheet metal into a car body and forging pistons, casting heads, and welding steel is much the same. But manufacturers have to repurpose that tooling to match the demand of the customers. Not every customer wants a turbo all-wheel drive black box with wings hanging off the back of it. But if that particular vehicle gets people excited, it can be made right here, numbering into the hundreds of thousands.
It seems like the Japanese are aware that it all looks very robotic. And so in a lot of these videos, you see the guys that actually work in the factories. And the factory is huge, and it's something that we don't have in Australia anymore. There's none of this car manufacturing, and when you see the scale of it and just how huge an operation it is, we're in this tiny, tiny little part of the Daihatsu factory just at the front, like a public museum space. But if you look at the actual size of the factory, it takes up what would be an entire suburb, which is awesome. It's great that they have this thing. It is very much aimed at little kids, or at least educating people who know zero about cars. But it's really cool the kind of effort they've gone to, considering they are a company whose job it is to sell cars.
I said goodbye to Yoshida and thanked her for the awesome tour. Seeing behind the curtain of a huge business like this reminded me that it's all about the people you meet and the experiences you have because of the car that can make them so special. Improving my car and learning new skills is the icing on a tasty Daihatsu cake, which I'm now going to try and get some sprinkles for.
So I've made my way to Hiroshima. I'm on a bike. It's a great way to see the place. And I'm looking for an up garage because there are some missing bits from the MIRA, and up garage is the best possible place to start when in Japan, when looking for second-hand car parts that your average Joe can just walk in and have a look at. So fingers crossed, the stuff that I need will be there. Electric bike. I'm on 50% battery.
These up garage stores are scattered all over the country, and if you're lucky, you can find some mad cheap second-hand parts.
An entire section just for K-car wheels. Pretty much everything will fit.
While things like JDM stereos are no good to us here in Australia, if you have any of the Japanese hero cars, you will find something for it.
Massive assortment of wheels. As much as I think this might have suited a previous life, I think something like this is actually going to suit the car really nicely. Proper Momo. And kind of small, which suits the car too. We're going to need a wheel, so that might do us. Feels like the right thing to do for a little Japanese car is to get an Italian branded steering wheel from a very Japanese shop.
I have one more item to collect on this parts acquiring mission, so I'm jumping on another Shinkansen down to Nagoya.
It's so good to see your face. How's your mom and are you okay? I've changed so much and so have you. I'm so sorry it's been so long.
The cities have turned into rice paddies, which means I must be getting close.
A few hours later, I'm in Matsusaka. It has some of the best beef in the world and an old friend of ours.
Oh, NSX. Mad. Hello, Rob.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you, man?
Hi.
Good to see you again.
Spring seats here,
Yep.
but we could have just posted them to you.
Well, probably not quite as fun as actually picking them up by hand. I wanted to come and see you.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I promise it wasn't just about the Daihatsu parts. It was to come and see you. I'm calling that a complete success. I could have probably just. These things would have gone into that van with that gentleman and ended up in Australia like the rest of the boxes. But I feel like this is probably a more exciting way to actually go and get your parts. I don't know that I'd recommend it because it's pretty expensive. Because these things were, I think you said 380 yen, which is about $4.20 in Australian dollars. So I'm not sure that it was the most efficient way, but it sure was a great adventure.
Close your eyes and don't look back.
As soon as I get off the plane, I'm reminded why getting out of your everyday and out into the world is such a valuable thing. You might be seeing some sights, sampling some culture, or even finding obscure car parts, but time with old friends or meeting new ones are memories that stay forever.
Be like this forever.
Did you really go all the way to Japan just to eat some squid and bring home like 2 things?
They're the 2 things that could fit in the suitcase. There are parts for this car that you can't buy here, and Rob from Import Monster was able to get them for me. They're too big to put in my suitcase. I tried, he said, bro, just put it in the container.
So you did get the things from Japan
I got
that
the
were
things-
required for
I
this.
did
That
get
is
the
more
things
than
from
just
Japan.
this.
Yeah, they're in a shipping container and they'll be here any day, and then the build will continue on the MIRA.
You look excited, Martin.
I'm so pumped.
You need to get a grip, don't you, mate?
Oh, did you have that ready? Wow.
Yes,
okay.
I did. Anyhow, no, do you know, Martin, speaking of shipping things, we have these new chopped hats. We'll ship them to your door hole anywhere on the planet ball. You can get them from mightycarmods.com. I think that's all the news, Martin.
Yeah.
Next up, there's something. You're looking at my hat, funny.
No, I was just thinking
It's
about,
got
like-
a chopped finger on there, and it says chopped on one of the sides.
You know how
and
we-
we'll send them to you.
Anywhere in the globe. But what are you going to say if it's not a globe? You're going to say anywhere in the flat. It's not the same,
that's
is
right.
it?
Yeah.
That's the best reason to say that it's a globe.
Let's not talk about that again.
No,
Some
not
people
again.
believe the world is flat. There's a few things that are flat. It's not the world, in our opinion. Anyway, Martin, there it is. That's the MIRA. That's amazing. I'm keen to go back to Japan. Maybe we should do that soon.
Maybe we should do it like this weekend.
Yeah, hintity womp womp hint. Get that dingo up your... Let's go.
Your monkey. I'm going to
Yep.
throttle it up and out of here. What's this off anyway?
Well done, Martin.
Is this off something cool?
That's off my new Mac, beep, beep, beep.